Hello, Nikolai. Thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview. For the first time, you're not actually someone I'm reaching out to because I saw a win from the Wins channel. In your case, Antonio strongly recommended I bring you on when I last interviewed him because of your success story. So I'm very interested to hear about that. But first, hello, how are you?
Man, it's very nice to meet you here in the matrix, the boundless realm of white walls. It's very nice to meet you. I'm very good. How are you doing today, man? You're in
I'm
England, right?
great. I am in
Or maybe
Spain.
I'm not supposed to say that. I don't know. It's a
All
dangerous
good,
place.
all good.
All right.
Okay, so I'd like to begin with your backstory. What was your life like
Sure.
before joining the real world?
Yeah. Before joining the real world, I was living with my grandma. Quite a small apartment. I remember when I woke up in the morning, I had to like walk through the bedroom sideways, squeeze my way through the bedroom, and I just had to like, it felt like I was a giant in that place because it was such a little apartment. And I was working as a part-time salesman at the time to support my ambitions in MMA. So yeah, I had decided to go professional in MMA because I just didn't see like any reason to go the corporate life or go the job life. I found it all super boring. And then I found Hustlers University, as it was called at the time, and it said, "Hey, you want to make money with no job?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to do that."
Okay, how long ago did you join?
It's like 14, 15 months now. It's a long time ago, man.
Mhm. And how did you find out about at the time Hustlers University?
So I watched a podcast with Tay like 3 or 4 years ago, a really long time ago. Dude still had hair, if that gives you some perspective, right? And I really found this mindset super interesting, especially the one about treating your word as iron will and treating it as magical. And I started using that a lot to just command myself to do different things. Like for the MMA gym, for example, I'll be like, okay, I'll train every day this week, and then I'll start doing that and I'll start improving on that. But I did actually sort of forget about him. Like I looked up his YouTube and I didn't find anything. It was just like a bunch of shorts. I'm like, this dude doesn't have any videos. And I sort of forgot about it for a while. And then one time I was sitting in like my chair uh, in my living room, and I was thinking like, I don't have any chicks. I wish I had some chicks. And then I remember that podcast Ted was talking about. Like that dude had a bunch of chicks. So I looked up his website because he promoted his course and everything. But I was broke. I was brokey, so I couldn't buy the PhD course. Then I found Hustlers University. Like, listen, it sucked to be broke. Like, yeah, I need the cash, so I just joined.
Okay, so now you're in Hustlers University. Did you instantly go into copywriting? Did you try out other things before?
Um, no, first I went into I think like Amazon FBA, something like that. I looked through that, but then I was thinking, wait, I need money to do this. I don't have any money, and copywriting suited me pretty well, I would say, when I found it, because I didn't need any money for it, and I'd actually been writing beforehand, not professionally, but just like just for myself, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And when you began copywriting, how much time were you putting into it per day?
per day. Well, at the time, I was spending most of my day at work or training. But when I wasn't doing either of those things, or actually like even at work, like in between calls, I'd put like prospects in the spreadsheet, like no conceit, but I was like prospecting at work. At the bus, I'd sit and do copywriting. And actually, the first week I joined Hustle University, I was blessed, right? I was given Corona, and I was so happy about that because I knew it wasn't fucking, you know, it's nothing. So I was like, yes, now I'm gonna not go to work and just stay in Hustle University 24/7. I barely slept. I just went through the material, wrote copy, and I actually saw one of the testimonials. Like, I made my money back the first day. I made $150. So in my mind, I was like, yes, I'm gonna make my money back immediately. I didn't do that, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna make money. I sat there for like 2 weeks. I'm like, I still haven't made it back, but I'm gonna keep going. And yeah, I was doing it all the time. I hanged up like all the copywriting rules and the stuff that I was taught on my wall. When I woke up, it was just like full. I was doing it on the bus, like breaking down copy. Uh, so yeah, I'd say a couple hours a day is what I had left over from the work and the training. But if I was awake and not doing either of those things, usually I was doing something copy related.
How long did it take you to get your first breakthrough done? And how did that feel? What was the
It took
process?
2 months. It took 2 months. I think it would have taken a lot faster if I had more time, because I'd say like 3-4 hours maybe per day is what I had left over. Even less for prospecting, right? But yeah, I made my $200 cost discovery project, communicating actually with the client's mom over email because his mom was like his assistant and everything. And yeah, got on a call with him later to pitch him like a retainer. I was absolutely terrible at sales. Like, I don't cold calling at my normal job, but I was really bad at this form of new sales, right? So that didn't go too well. And I remember when I pitched him the retainer, like 1K, and he's like, I think that will work. Maybe I'll have to check with my mom though. Just looking at him like, huh, well, okay. You know, dude didn't have a wife, so he couldn't be like, I have to check with my wife. He had to check with his mom. Oh, and also some extra context makes it more funny. It's like he was like 50 years old, like gray hair. Old ass dude,
Oh
bro. It's like I
wow.
gotta check with
Okay.
my mom. Yeah, I wasn't scamming some like 14-year-old Fortnite kid, like sell my coaching Fortnite. Nah, old ass man, like gotta check with his mom. So that didn't go anywhere. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. And then how did that end up scaling? And what did it scale to?
Yeah, so I kept reaching out to people in the beginning, doing lots of just discovery projects. And I had to get my negotiation and sales skills up a lot before I could actually get someone on the level of the retainer. But I did find one client who enabled me to uh, live off of it, just barely, by the way, just live off of it and live by myself in an apartment. Um, and yeah, I remember we were doing commission-based work. So every once in a while, I'd get like a quick little win, like, oh, $500 here. I'm like, yes, finally, I'm not broke anymore. But then all the bills would like rush in and like steal all my money. So okay, I'm broke again. I'd get like some quick deals here and there. But in terms of retainers, yeah, that took quite a while. Like, looking back with the knowledge I have now, the sales skills and negotiation skills I just built up, I would have scaled way faster if I, went back in time. But yeah, how it scaled from there with that client who I was doing like commission based stuff. We made a deal together where I wrote him like a sales page and different stuff like that, and just doing a lot of stuff for him. And we were expecting a really big launch. Like, I was expecting a lot of money to come in, and I broke one of the HU rules where you're like, you get excited about money that's not in the bank yet, right? And I was like, yeah, so much money is gonna come in, blah blah blah. And he never put out like the copy that I wrote for him, so no money was made at all. And then at the same time was like, bro, I don't know, blah blah blah, and we stopped working together. At that point, I had to leave that apartment I was in, and I was staying with my dad for a while looking for other places. I was making about 500 to 1K a month still, just like quick deals here and there, like closing like small little projects here and there. But my dad, like, I understand him because he doesn't really get what I'm doing, and I also understand from his perspective, like, fuck are you doing, like sitting around your laptop all day? Like, what are you doing? So he was always like, you should stop fucking sitting on your laptop all the time and working. You should go, get a job, this and that. And I got tired of it, because I wanted to be the boss. So I was like, all right, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna go live in a car and just run my business from a car. Uh, so that was the next step of the journey, and that was fun. Those were some good times. I lived in it with a bunch of roommates. Most of them were rats, and also one of them were my one of them was my friend. It was a really good friend of mine, and it was really cold. I sat up a lot of cold nights just sending outreach. He had like a slave job. What do you mean, like $5 an hour or something? So like at 2 p.m. every day, I wake up in this like huge industrial area, like this giant soulless factory of people just like droning around, And I was just working though. I was working on my laptop, and I had, I had some rice, I had some oatmeal, I had some other garbage foods, and I had like some fat cigars. I needed those, just all the necessities for life, right? I remember spending all my money before like all the bills were coming to take them. Like I always used to do that, like out out just out raising my bills all the time. I gotta spend this soon so I can eat. Fuck my bills. I don't care. Uh, so that was fun. But yeah, I lived there for only like 2 weeks or so because I managed to close 2 clients just working all the time for like some small projects first, and then upsell them on retainers. I think I made about $1,200 to $1,400 in like 3 weeks, and then we moved into a new apartment with that money. And I'd say we just took the first one we could get because we were like tired of sleeping in a car, And it was a super shitty apartment. Like we're living there with like family of cockroaches, which we see every once in a while. It looked like, my friend always laughed and called it like, yeah, this is the sex dungeon, like fucking, it looked like a crack house mixed with a sex dungeon. And bro, it was crazy. It was so dirty there too. He literally had to like clean the bathroom and spray it down with a gas mask because it was so fucked up, right? The guy who moved out there, he just didn't fucking clean, just didn't care. We also found like a heroin needle from him. After a while, I was like, oh, nice little city. Uh, it's called Verdal. It's the Norwegian city where it's the most drugs, like in all of Norway. Everyone we fucking met there was doing some type of drugs, bro. That dude was on heroin. Our fucking neighbor knocked our door once, like, you guys like marijuana? Like, no, bro. Go away. Like, that city was shit. And also another weird thing about it was the chicks. They were either like 13, 14, or they were 14. Right. So there were no chicks for us there because they didn't have like they had like a high school, right? And then they had like farmers, and just like they didn't have anything in between. So it was just a fucked up place. But kept on scaling from there as well. And yeah, achieved my original plan of moving to Thailand. That's what I wanted to do years ago. And yeah, now I'm here, got a bunch of retainers. Uh, Pretty good.
Wow. Okay, so When you were living out of the car, how were you getting internet connection for outreach?
Data, just sharing data from my phone. Those were some of the bills that were like coming to try and take my money, you know. But I know how they work, right? They add an extra $10 onto your bill, and then oh, next month it's gonna be $10 more, and they're like threatening me. I'm like, I don't give a fuck, right? I was always like, no, I'll just make new money. That's one of the mindsets that I learned in HU, right? As long as you have the skills, as long as you have the right traits and the right mindset, you just like snap your fingers and make new cash. Even when I was broke, I was still thinking like that. Maybe to a very extreme extent. I don't know if it's too wise, but I didn't care about spending cash.
How long ago did you move to Thailand?
Uh, I went there in November 20, something like that.
So how long after joining HU was that?
I think like a year, something.
Okay.
Yeah.
And could you feel free if this is confidential? Just wondering, would you be able to disclose roughly how much you're making per month now?
Yeah. So it depends on the month. It's roughly around like 7 to 12K, depending on the month.
Okay. So about an average of 10K a month.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So now going more into the real world, did the community have any effect on you?
Yeah, and especially the mentor Andrew. In the beginning stages, he answered all my questions. He posted a lot of good resources. He definitely gave a lot of good mentorship. The community helped, but I would say I didn't leverage it. I didn't leverage its full power in the beginning. I was like in the chat sometimes, but I was mostly just like consuming the lessons and going and implementing it on my own. But I did make some friends, just like reviewing copy and stuff. You review each other's copy, and then you start sort of connecting. And one of the guys I got connected to was TB. He's also a HU like OG. He's been there a long time, and yeah, he invited me to like a group after a while where it's like some more established people from HU who had all gotten like results and stuff like that. And yeah, so from that point onward, I became a lot more like groupthink, a lot more part of a brotherhood. And that helped me immensely too. At the time I joined, I was making like 2 to 3K a month. And I think it helped a lot, like with the competition, the constant sharing of the knowledge and stuff of that sort. So yeah, it was great.
Okay. Now, for advice you'd have to other people, if someone comes into it with zero experience and wants to try out copywriting, even if their native language isn't English, do you think would you recommend them to go through the real world and do copywriting?
Yeah, I'd still recommend you go and try, right? I mean, trying is sort of like a weird word for me because when I joined, I was just mentally like fully dedicated right away. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make this cash. I'm gonna make this cash no matter what. And yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people. I've seen some people come in and like make thousands of dollars in the first few weeks. I've seen other people like just struggle through months of just hard work with no results, but then they finally break through and get the cash. But yeah, when it comes to like native language, not speaking good English, I don't know if I can really comment on that because I never really had a problem with like writing bad English or anything. I would say though that I have a friend who is now making a couple $1,000s a month, who when he came in, English was, it was just riddled with mistakes, like through the entire thing, right? But you just kept going, you just kept improving, and yeah, made it after a while. So an advice I'd give to like my past self is to spend a lot more time prospecting, because that's really where all the cash is, right? Other people who you are reaching out to, they're the ones who have the cash. Like if you're in there to make money, like why spend 5 hours on practice copy and then 1 hour prospecting? I think that's silly, especially because if you're like doing free value and you're like writing for people as practice, then you're getting in that training anyways. And I think that you're going to improve a lot more being out in the field, like actually doing it, actually writing for people who want to see your stuff. And yeah, I use this metaphor where if you're not like prospecting almost all the time, besides like, okay, some set aside some time for study, blah, 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 and some time for review, then it's basically like the earth is just filled with gold. There's just gold everywhere, and you have a shovel, and you're just like, I'm gonna shovel for a little bit, I'm gonna go home. Like, the fuck, bro? There's money right there. Just do more prospecting. That's the short version. I should have just said that.
How much of an impact did the Wins channel have on you?
I'm trying to recall. It's actually a long time ago at this point. But I mean, I'd seen the testimonial on the sales page right away. I don't know if I would have bought HU without testimonials. So I saw results. I saw, okay, people are making money from this. And so I just had to tell myself, there's no reason why I can't do it then. It's just simple as that, right? And when it comes to the Wins channel, though, there's one thing that was like motivating. Or I'd say it pissed me off more, which is this guy Chief, right? He joined. He's one of the apprentices now. He's like a big G in the real world. He came in, and after like 1 or 2 weeks, I saw him like coming in like, oh, this guy's cool. This guy's talking. And after like 2 weeks, he was like, yeah, I closed this retainer. I closed this. Bro, what? What's going on? And I was like, I was super pissed off by that. And I was thinking like a lot of the time, like, I'm a fucking, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna be the best. I'm gonna be the best HU student. So that was nice. I was super pissed off, but I was grateful to him. Like, thank you for pissing me off and showing me I gotta work harder.
Mm-hmm. I need to try get Chief on as well. I've heard some great things about him.
Yeah, it's a G.
Okay, so would you have an answer for the top 3 biggest lessons you've learned from the real world?
So some of the really life-changing ones for me was actually I think it was called Money Fundamentals channel. It doesn't exist anymore, I don't think. But it was just like a place where Luke, which is Tate's cousin, and Arno and were just posting mindset lessons about the fundamentals of how rich people think. And one that really stuck with me, and by the way, I read those, like all those lessons, like for every night I went to sleep. Like I read them so many times just to reprogram my brain. HU completely reprogrammed my brain. Like it's just shattered my worldview completely. But one of those lessons that really hit me hard was that there are rich people with $0 in the bank, and there are poor people with $1 million in the bank. That was like, whoa, that's crazy, right? Because there are these finance gurus, for example, on Instagram, who are like, yeah, you can be a millionaire by the time you're 50 if you just sleep on a mattress in a junkyard and you wear a garbage bag to work and you don't buy coffee and all this garbage, and they're broke, right? Even if they have $1 million, they're sitting on it and they're afraid of spending it. They're like, oh, I can't spend this little money. Like, they're poor, they're enslaved to their money. For me, financial freedom is being so good at making money that money doesn't mean a thing, right? That's why I just spend money on cigars, even though I was living in a fucking car, right? I didn't give a shit. I was like, I have the skills, I have the mindset, I have the knowledge from HU. I know I'm gonna make money, and I did it in like 2 weeks. So that was a huge mindset lesson for me.
Very nice.
Yeah. For two other ones, what's in it for me? It's a very powerful lesson. It's one I was taught in the copywriting campus right away. And the principle is basically, if you want to persuade people, always speak in terms of their interests, their desires, the goals that they're trying to achieve, and like stop thinking about yourself, because people who haven't implemented this principle will say stuff like, I want the job, like, can you give me this, like, I want the race or whatever, right? But that's really the fundamentals of all marketing and all business. I think like communicating, right? This is actually what's in it for you. This is actually how it's going to help you, right? And how it relates to your interests. It's how it relates to your world. Or you're doing a business deal, right? It can't be like, yeah, I really like to make this business deal with you, and I would really like people don't care about that, right? So let's say that's another huge one. And I think about it like everyday life too. Like people will say the garbage that just doesn't have any significance. I'm just like, why are you telling me this? What's in it for me, right? So that's a very powerful lesson. The third one, let's say, it ties into the first one about how it's all about who you are. It's all about the skills you have, the mindset, the traits that you have, and really valuing yourself and your time above like anything else, like a little bit of cash. Like people are afraid of spending like $50 to join AHU. It's like spend that on kebab, bro. And it's like that $50 is nothing, like at all. And it's the same thing with Elon Musk. Loses all his money and he just makes it all back because of who he is, makes it all back and more. Like he lost 113 billion, some shit. Now he's richer than ever. Tate could lose all his cash and he's still super rich. And people hold on to their money and they're like, I don't know if I should like spend this, but you're afraid of like spending $50 to invest into a business that can be worth billions, right? It's you. So that's a hugely valuable lesson for me. Like treating yourself and your time as the most valuable asset and investing like everything into that, all your money, all your time.
You've been through a very eclectic life, if that's the right way to phrase it. So, with everything that you've gone through, where do you still see yourself in 6 months to 1 year? What do you plan on achieving? And yeah.
Yeah. By that time, I'll probably be doing some fights in Pattaya here. Some training in Muay Thai is one of the biggest reasons I came to Thailand. And I'll be living with all my brothers and my brotherhood in this nice house. I've been here alone for the first month, which has been pretty cool. I mean, feel pretty rich, but I'm looking forward to see them. And we're just going to be training together, working together, building a kingdom together, and scaling our business. And yeah, I don't really have a super tangible vision probably in like 6 to 12 months though. I usually only look like a month ahead, or I look like 10, 20 years ahead. It's one of those. And I'll like, align all my day-to-day actions with that long-term vision I have, which is not really a year. It's more
Feel
like
free to give me
lifelong.
the 10-year plan or vision.
10-year plan. Yeah, well, I set out with the goal years ago to become a world champion athlete. I'm going to pursue that. I've wanted to be a world-renowned author. for quite a long time too. So I'm writing a book on the side. That's not making me any cash now, so that's definitely not a focus right now. But I'll have a lot more freedom to do that once built up more, and make a couple hundred mil, buy a castle in the mountains.
By Dracula's castle, by any chance? Or
Not
somewhere else?
Dracula's, no. Somewhere else, yeah. Fill it with chicks and have a bunch of children. And I want to create a bunch of little world champions too. I want one in each weight division. That would be pretty cool. And we could just like own the entire division.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking actually, a lot of these Thai kids they're just born and then they're thrown like into fighting immediately because they're so poor, right? And they're just like, go fight so that we can buy food and stuff like that. And I think that's really like cool. Maybe it sounds cold-hearted to say that, but I think that's really cool. And I might just, let my kids be poor and like have a little house in the ghetto or something and be like, kids, really struggling here. You guys, you got to go fight. Your mom's got to eat and stuff like that. And then go back to my mansion. And just chill, bro.
Fair enough.
That's where I see myself.
Yeah. Okay, I'm happy to end it there. Before you go, where can people contact you?
Yeah, so I post most of my stuff on Instagram. That's where I put most of my heart and soul into when it comes to the content. And you can also sign up for my email list where I share some of the insights, some of the things I've learned while just going through this journey, scaling my business, making my clients money and stuff like that. And it's real fun and it's real good.
And your Instagram being?
Nikolai.copywriting is the handle.
Okay. And
Yeah.
newsletter, I'll attach everything to the description of the video, but just say it out loud as well.
Yeah. Just tap that. Give it a follow.
Is your newsletter also the same as your Instagram?
No, it's like in the bio. It's got a super shitty looking link and it's a super shitty page because I just like threw it together quickly. I'm occupied with like client work, so I just threw something together. It's in the bio though.
Okay.
You'll see it and like you'll get to a landing page. It's gonna be really persuasive, because it says you're going to get the most profitable knowledge in this email. That's like all it says, bro. You get the most profitable knowledge. Go sign up.
I'm sure I will after hearing that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nikolai.
Great selfish.
Wish you all the best, and till next time.
Thank you as well, man. Great interview.